reforming the fiscal system through land value taxation. In a fiscal environment built on a site value tax SVT system, the way wage and salary structures are determined would change significantly. Rather than being set every 3 or 4 years, as is the current norm, wages would be reviewed annually. This is because SVT would be determined each year alongside the national budget, influencing overall pricing structures in the economy. Annual wage negotiations would allow compensation to better reflect real-time market conditions, preventing the lag and iniquity often experienced under longer-term agreements. A crucial consequence of this shift is the elimination or at least significant reduction of inflation, particularly the need for cost of living allowances, COLA. Inflation in domestic contexts typically results from a mismatch among the 3 main production factors: land, labor, and capital. Specifically, when land values and interest rates rise disproportionately relative to wages, prices across the economy increase. A tax on land values would restore balance among the factors, stabilizing prices and minimizing inflation. Even imported inflation can be addressed. A land value tax incentivizes local production of goods and services that are typically imported, allowing them to be produced more competitively. When local capacity is lacking, foreign direct investment or joint ventures can be encouraged to substitute for imports. These investors would find the country's low tax, high opportunity environment appealing under an SVT framework. Shifting the tax burden. Trinidad and Tobago's current tax regime includes a 25% income tax on individuals in earning more than $80,000 Trinidad and Tobago currency annually. Since many citizens earn less than this threshold, they are not directly affected by income tax. However, the value-added tax VAT of 12.5% affects everyone, creating a broader burden on the population. Under an SVT regime, VAT would be eliminated and income taxes could be lowered or abolished for most people. Only landowners would bear the primary tax responsibility, paying based on the market value of their land. Because SVT targets unearned income from land rather than productive work or consumption, it removes tax disincentives, encourages economic activity, and rewards productivity. In this environment, corporate income tax could be reduced to around 15%, making the country a globally competitive tax destination. Even high-income individuals could be taxed at this lower rate, keeping the nation aligned with other low-tax jurisdictions. The outcome would be an economy characterized by increased productivity, higher employment levels, broader career freedom and choice, effective education and training programs, a reinvigorated workforce. This stands in stark contrast to the current climate, where many workers are disengaged, frustrated, and simply waiting out their time until retirement. Why tax land? SVT rests on the principle that land's location, not the effort of the business or employee, is the key driver of income. Take two businesses offering the same goods or services, one in downtown Port of Spain and one in a rural area. The central business location will naturally generate more revenue, not due to superior skill or service, but because of its high foot traffic and accessibility. The value of these sites arises not from the business owners themselves, but from the community infrastructure and demand, roads, public services, and customer flow. Since the community contributes to site value, it is only fair that the community share in that value via taxation. This is the ethical and economic justification for SVT. Land values are determined by several community-driven factors: location and accessibility, suitability for commercial, industrial, or agricultural use, aesthetic appeal or ambience, quality of public infrastructure and services. Since no one individual creates these advantages alone, the value should be taxed collectively, with proceeds going back into the community. Wages and market inequity. Even though a worker in a prime urban location helps generate high revenue, their wages don't increase accordingly. Instead, wages tend to equalize across locations for the same work because wage levels are dictated by what's available on the least productive site in the market. This is a natural economic law. Supply and demand regulate wages downward when jobs are limited to a few valuable locations, often held out of use. As a result, wages are suppressed and purchasing power is diminished. As economist David Ricardo noted, wages fall below their natural level, depriving workers of what is customarily considered necessary for decent living. A solution is to tax underutilized and vacant land based on its value. This would pressure owners to make land available for productive use. As more land becomes accessible, the demand for labor rises, leading to higher wages, better purchasing power, and an overall lift in living standards. More employment, more business formation, housing development, food production, and other societal needs would be met. Global relevance and warning signs. This concept is not just relevant for Trinidad and Tobago, but is applicable across the globe. Employment opportunities are declining, even in traditionally strong economies such as North America, Western Europe, and parts of Asia and South America. Economic growth in Western Europe has remained sluggish since the 2008 financial crisis, with annual growth rates under 4%. At the same time, communities across these regions are in desperate need of goods and services, while valuable land lies idle. This disconnect highlights a critical failure of current fiscal systems. The basic formula for economic production is simple and timeless. land plus labor plus capital equals goods and services. When land is underutilized, the other two utilities, labor and capital, have nothing to combine with, and economies stall. Taxing land activates this dormant factor, setting off a chain reaction where both capital and labor rush in to generate economic value. This principle holds true regardless of geography, race, ideology, or technological advancement. Return to first principles. The universe, and by extension society, operates under unseen but powerful natural laws. When these are respected, societies thrive. When ignored, hardship follows. Today's economic systems are inching towards deprivation, not due to lack of resources, but due to flawed fiscal structures that ignore foundational truths. The call is clear. Return to basic economic laws, particularly those advocated by great thinkers like Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and Henry George, all of whom recognized the central role of land in economic systems. Their insights remain as relevant today as they were centuries ago. If societies fail to act, the cost will be high. But if we respond wisely, starting with a reformed taxation system centered on land value, we can create a future of prosperity, equity, and renewed economic dynamism. To get more information on this subject, please access our flagship course, Nature of Society, whose link is in the description, profile, bio.